Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Thank you again. Thank you so much for joining me on the Kind of Cool show. Blinko Network, obviously, as you can see behind. Yeah, so yeah, we started doing a couple of podcasts. We shot movies and series and stuff like that. So as I told you, we had a lady a singer from Zimbabwe, right? So she came over with an interview, and then we started posting the work, obviously, on every social platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that. And then she got like a backlash from fellow South Africans. People were like, yes, they were not appreciating the fact that she's Zimbabwe. What are these Zimbabweans doing here? And they're taking over and so on and so forth, right? So we just thought as a Blinko Network that we should take it upon us to try to first have different people from different backgrounds on the show, different kind of markets, and we target markets. So that's why I decided, you know what, you are someone that I followed. I've been following you for a while on Facebook. I love your work. Obviously, you are different from me in terms of skin color, obviously. So that's what I decided. You know what? Let's I don't want to call it I'm going to call it uninformation. People are uninformed about us, what people do, and especially for me as an entertainer, and I need to learn more about more entertainers. So I'd like to ask, first question I'd like to ask you is how has it been for you, especially doing magic in South Africa with the kind of background that you have as a white guy?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can just speak on like my perspective of where I kind of started off doing magic and all that. And yeah, man, I mean, I just kind of started doing it by myself. I learned everything by myself. I was, like, and also like a lot of people think maybe, how it kind of all started was that people sometimes think like, you need like a lot of money to start doing magic. You don't actually. Like how I started is I went to the library, which is like literally anyone can get a library card. There are old books in most libraries. Now I'm from PE originally, so there's like a little PE library here. And I went there and there were some old like magic books teaching you how to make things, kind of like little tricks, like how to make things disappear, card tricks, a lot of card tricks and stuff like that. And basically, if you can have access to those books, which, anyone can, like I said, anyone can get a library card. Once you have access to that, you just basically, as long as you have access to that information, which most of us do, you just need to apply yourself and actually practice the little tricks. And you can do it with anything, whether it's like a 50-cent coin. I was practicing with a 50-cent coin, making it disappear. A deck of cards. I mean, most people do have a deck of cards or access to some kind of deck of cards. Yes. It doesn't have to be any special expensive things, and that's where I started. There are very expensive props and things that you can get in magic, but anyone can start and blow minds with relatively just gaining information. So that's basically where I started. I mean, I was fortunate enough that from learning those tricks from books in the library, which I read every single one of those books, I was fortunate enough that I could basically go to then bookshops and buy also my own books, buy magic books and stuff like that. And that obviously just increased and just added to the knowledge that I was building on how to do a lot of magic and stuff. And then, it came into just performing and doing tricks. I started off doing magic at Spur in PE, and I would walk around with a little cup and
you working at Spur?
Cards. Yeah, like doing magic tricks in Spur.
Okay.
Because actually Spur is one of the few places, I don't even know if they do it anymore, but they used to support a lot of magicians in South Africa have started off performing at Spur, doing walk around. I mean, this is now 12 years ago that I started. 13 years ago I did magic there. But yeah, basically I was 16, 15 or something, and I'd walk around with a deck of cards, and basically what they said is, you can walk around the Spur, do magic, have a cup, and then let people drop tips into the cup, and that's how I started making money doing magic
with your deck of cards.
With my deck of cards, yeah, and some coins, yeah. I mean, that's how it all kind of began. And then from there, obviously moved to like stage stuff, and then got kind of bigger in that regard. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, I can't speak from other people's perspective, but I do know that it is very possible to basically, you don't have to have a lot of money to actually start doing, especially close-up magic. You just have to have the know-how.
Okay, that's great. So which stage did you first like appear on, like a big stage, and where?
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest stage, the first kind of big one that I did was in 2011. I did the National Arts Festival in Grahamstown. I'm sure you've heard. Yeah, man, because actually, I mean, I was from PE. Well, I'm still from PE, but I was living in PE at the time, and it's just down the road from Grahamstown is PE. So I basically went from here. I made a plan, and we it was a risk though. Like, I wasn't sure what would actually happen because like no one had ever heard of me. I've never done a stage show before, really.
Whoa! So you made a plan. What do you mean? How did you get in? That's what I want to know.
Well, at the time, you just had to apply, and I had to kind of show like that I have done. Like, they wouldn't have let me in if I totally had no kind of experience behind me at all. But I kind of showed. I kind of was like, oh yeah, I've done close-up magic and all that, because I had been doing magic like properly at like Spur for like 2 years before that. So for the last 2 years. Because I started very young, so yeah. So when I was 18, that's when I ended up doing the stage show, and yeah, like I didn't really know what would have happened. I wasn't sure if the whole thing would like fail or but we ended up doing well. Like, the show actually ended up selling well. I ended up like handing out literally thousands of flyers while I was there. It's hard work, man. Doing festivals is hard work. People think you just rock up to a festival and you just go on stage and that's it. No, you have to put up posters, you have to put up flyers. These posters are actually from some of the festivals that I've done. Yeah, just some of them. I mean, I've done thousands, so I've done thousands of shows. So I mean, and hundreds of posters, thousands of flyers. So it's it's hard work, but
you always put in the work. So do you have like a team behind you, or you work alone?
So everything I basically orchestrate alone. But when I do festivals, like for example, when I do Grahamstown Fest, I would have people helping me. So it kind of helped. It started off being like, okay, some of my friends were just helping for fun, and then it was like, cool, the shows actually were doing well and started actually like, the shows actually started making money. So then I was like, cool, you want to come and I can pay you to help like hand out flyers and be part, like to be light and sound for the show, and lots of things like that, man. I mean, I was employing people, at the age of 18. I did employ some people. Look, I wasn't paying them lots, but it was worth it for them.
So you were paying your own friends?
I was paying my own friends, but also they put in the work. Like, they were handing out like 500 flyers a day. Like, that is hard work, man. I mean, that's proper hours standing on your feet. Look, like I said, I paid them what I could. I couldn't pay them well, but
at the moment, I understand.
And then obviously since then, I've had like ad hoc employees, other performers. Like, I've managed other performers. I have given plenty of theatre world people work. When I'm doing shows and stuff. So so since then.
Wow. Yeah. So what does it take? What does it take to prepare for a show as a magician?
Yeah, man. I mean, as a magician, it basically, it depends on what the show is, man. But ultimately, you just need to have like the creative concept down. You have to obviously have practiced the show. And then, in my opinion, what you do is just go on stage and you just do it. I don't like to beat around the bush or anything like that. look, there's a lot more to it, like, like working out what music works for the show.
Yeah.
If you need specific lighting, okay, what about this performance space might be like, you might be surrounded 360 degrees, which then obviously you have to change around because people are behind you, so things like that. You got to always know, like, what space are you going into?
Okay.
What are we going to like? So then I apply what tricks I can do.
Okay.
In that space.
Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to ask you. Do you create your own tricks, or do you like learn and master the old tricks that other people have done?
That's a good question, man. That's a good question. I mean, actually, I do a bit of both. So sometimes the effects and tricks that I do have been created by other magicians, and I just do it I always add my own like touch to it, though, if that makes sense. Like, I always add my own spin to it.
Just a little bit
but
of
sometimes
twist,
the actual core of the magic trick is created by another magician, but I'd have created quite a lot of my own stuff. So it's hard to tell you exactly, but I'd say about 50% of it is created by other people, but I perform in my own way. The other 50% is stuff I personally created. And I try and do that as best I can.
Oh, okay. So have you ever been at one point like you are performing on stage and you feel like you're losing the crowd?
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, again, like just to mention, I have done I've lost count of how many stage shows I've done. It's well over 1,000, maybe even 1,500 stage shows. So I've done a lot. And yeah, so basically, sometimes you go on stage and it's a crowd that might be drunk or might be whatever. Yeah, you'll be surprised, man.
I understand. Yeah.
Some people think, drunk audiences must be great for magic, but no, they're not. So I have very few, though, but also over the years and over so many shows, you kind of learn how to manage the audience and manage the crowd. So that's just something that just kind of happened over time. But I have obviously been in that position. I think every performer has, even the greats, everyone's been in the position.
Yes, I do stand-up comedy. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
So how do you, as a magician, how do you win them back when you feel like, okay, now I'm starting to lose my people? Do you add in your twist at the moment, or?
Yeah, it all depends, man. I mean, it depends on how I'm losing them. Do I lose them because they're finding the magic boring? Am I losing them because it's too loud in there and they're getting distracted with drinks and other things and food? So it all really depends. These days, it hasn't happened for a long time that I've lost an audience, because I go in knowing, okay, this is the space. Let's just say it's a bar, right? Just for argument's sake, because those are tough gigs there, because people are busy and talking, having their own conversations. I don't do many bar gigs these days, man. I usually do theater stuff where everyone's like focused on the show.
But they came for the magic, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I have done pub gigs as well, where people are like kind of here, then everywhere. And when I go into that environment, I wouldn't do tricks that are very like, that need a lot of explanation. It's got to be like very much A to B, like, take a card, it's changed in your hands, or watch this thing just disappear.
Yes.
Because the more talking you're doing in the show, kind of people can so you kind of learn to just manage. And as well, like, also with the jokes, because I do quite a few jokes on my show and stuff.
Yeah, and you do post a lot of jokes too. Yeah,
I do, man. I actually find that adding a bit of humor in the show, people love. So people are there for the magic, but they also enjoy the comedy and all the comedic moments in the show, and that's something that I find people really, really like. So even with the jokes, like if you have a bit of comedy going on in your show, and you're in like a pub and like people are there, drinking and whatever, I wouldn't do, for example, long-winded like story jokes, because people can get lost in between. I'd rather do just short one-liners. People listen for a minute and think, that's funny, and then like carry on drinking, whatever. And that way you don't actually use them. So yeah, it's little things like that you kind of just, that I've learned over just doing so many shows. Yeah.
I guess it goes with it takes time to learn those things, to learn to scan the crowd and understand
the more
the
hours you
environment.
spend on stage, I think I'm a
The
genuine
better.
believer that the more hours you spend on stage,
Mhm.
you're only ever going to get better. You know, if you spend like 1,000 hours on stage, you're going to get good at some point. Like you're going to be better than you were in hour one, you know, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. So before I ask, I don't know, do you have a specific favorite quick trick? Because I'm thinking of putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no, I mainly do stage stuff, man. I mean, if you told me beforehand you wanted to see some magic as well, I could have organized something. But
okay.
Yeah, like these days I'm a stage performer. Like I do enough stage shows. I always say, like, you know, if you want to come to the show, you can come to the show. It's more of a production these days than back in the day, because there's different types of magic. There's close-up magic and there's you know, stage magic and stuff like that. And I'm all on the stage side. So
it needs more preparations now than before, right?
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, there's all sorts of hypnosis involved. I mean, yeah, there's just everything. Like, yeah, it's a whole production. Yeah, it's not just like a quickly do something, you know.
Yeah, because that's what we as comedians get up to. People, you meet someone and they say, "Please come on, tell us a joke," and you're like,
Yeah, of course. It's like more of a, you know, if you're a story joke teller or a story comedian, then yeah, man. I mean, it's kind of a similar thing. Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell us about your latest show, Smoke and Mirrors? Because before the lockdown, I understand that's what you were building towards before.
Yeah. So Smoke and Mirrors is a show that I created. I've already performed it in Durbs, and I basically did that variation of show in Cape Town. All like recently, I was supposed to now do it in Josie, and I am going to be doing it in Sandton as soon as we can. As soon as the restrictions are lifted, we'll be doing it there.
Oh wow, where in Sandton?
At Allison Fifth. It's in the Sandton Sun Hotel.
Okay, I know it.
So it's a very nice venue there, man. Like, it's very nice. Nice guy that runs it as well, and we'll basically be doing a show there. We were supposed to do a show, but literally, we were supposed to do a show that week, but then literally, Cyril said like, "Oh, we're locking down." Like literally the week before, there were already sales for the shows and everything, and then like all of a sudden that happened. I was like, "Oh, you know, we can't do any live things." But anyway, but the show is basically a blend of mentalism, which is magic of the mind, with a little bit of visual magic, and just all around some exciting stuff. Some stuff, if you come to the show, I can guarantee you that you will see stuff that you have never in your life seen before. Like, I can guarantee that. And yeah, basically it's mystical, it's mythical, and it's a lot of fun for everyone.
Sounds exciting. So how challenging do you think it is for someone else who's going to be watching you? Of course, most people didn't know about you from my community. They don't know about magic. Some would like to learn, and some are interested.
Yeah.
How challenging do you think it is to like be in the industry?
Like challenging to do what? Like to
do
get
magic,
the word out there?
No, like
to do magic.
To do magic, like to be illusionist.
Okay. Well, I mean, I take this and paint it to basically say about any entertainer in South Africa. Like if you're a performer, especially a solo performer, so you can apply this to comedy as well. I mean, obviously it's different performance art, so you're going to have different audiences and different people that are keen to come and watch and stuff, just naturally. But generally speaking, it's hard to get your like kind of name out there, man. I mean, as a comedian, as a magician, as whatever you want to be, it's hard to get your name out there. I mean, but and you know, South Africa is a big country. Like South Africa, we've got like 60 million people, people from all different cultures, as you know, obviously from different areas. You know, you've got Durban and the East Coast, and then you got East Coast people that don't know about Joburg performers, and Joburg people don't know about Cape Town performers, and PE people just chilling in the wind. You know, so it's like, so you know, it's like it's so it's a big place, and it's hard to get like properly known. I myself have worked very hard to get kind of my foot in the door, to to get sales and to be able to go to most major cities in South Africa and people buy tickets, you know. To be fair, you know, it's not like you know, obviously it's not Trevor Noah level of sales and stuff. I mean, hopefully one day it is. I hope
think
that
it
it
would
is.
be.
But you never know. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, unless you're a proper household name like Trevor Noah, you know, maybe you know, like some bigger musicians. There's some big musicians like AKA Casper Nyovest, obviously. Like, you know, those guys are proper massive names. If you're kind of in the comedy, or if you're just like a solo performer, like a comedian or magician, it's hard to get to that level without kind of like some kind of big financial backing or some like team promoting you and stuff. But I have pushed to do the best I can to get my work out there and to get kind of known that, like, you know, in some cities there, I mean, obviously you can't go everywhere and just be like, oh, do you know Brendon Peel? Like, not everyone will know me, but in certain, if you're a Magic fan, if you're really a fan of Magic and you hear like, oh, you know, have you ever heard of Brendon Peel? They'll be like, oh yeah, I've heard of that guy, like somewhere, you know. So you just got to get big in your niche. So find out people the niche of people who like Magic is smaller than the niche of people, because everyone likes comedy. So comedy is a bigger thing, whereas Magic is quite a specific thing. Also, I find in SA, a lot of people are quite like conservative in a sense when it comes to the magic situation.
Of course.
You know, and people are very skeptical. I think that's the word. People are very like kind of standoffish about like magic. Oh, is it real? Or like you're doing some like demon work or something.
Witchcraft, something like that.
Yeah, witchcraft. I mean, there is like this whole thing like that I try and always say in my show, like, it's not real. Everything is basically an illusion.
It's an illusion.
You know, I'm not going to tell you how it's done, but you know, in the show, I say I don't tell you how it's done, but also just know that there's no like external forces at play here or anything like that. It's all just, it's an illusion, you know. And I think as we progress, I think more people are open to it now than they were. Like if you look, I mean, I wasn't alive 30, 40 years ago, but if you do go back 40 years ago, 30 years ago, people were way more conservative or way more skeptical about magic than they are now. But there still are pockets of people here that are very like, oh, is it real? I still get messages being like, oh, is it real that you do? Or is it just like illusion? And I get a lot like that. And so
okay, so I have to ask this question. So which kind of ethnicities have you seen that most people like are more accepting of magic?
Which ethnicities? I mean, man. I mean, it depends. Like, if you're looking at my shows, depending where I am as well, my shows are actually quite diverse in terms of the audience.
For real?
I would say, it actually is, man. I mean, but also I would say, depending where you are, I would say predominantly Caucasian, probably traditionally speaking, that come out to like watch magic. I do also find in Durban, like the Indian demographic comes out and loves magic, man. They love magic. And
so is it the black people that have a problem with this magic?
No, I've had plenty of black people come to my shows, man. I would say it's hard for me to tell you on percentage averages because I've been like literally all over. But at different festivals, you know, it's hard to give you an exact percentage, but there have been people of all races though that have come to me afterwards and said like, oh, we're a bit skeptical. I found like some elderly Afrikaans conservative guys, or people rather, they were very much like, oh, you should trade in like your deck of cards for a Bible because this is the devil's work. I have had, man, no, I've had that. I've had all races that have messaged me being like, is this real though? Is this real? And, you know, so you get that from all kind of sides of different demographics, I suppose, if you want to call it that. So, yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much for that. Eish, because I never know what to expect with the crowd. You never know from there, wherever you are in Durban. Maybe you go to Mpumalanga one day in Mpompo, where they say witchcraft is like a big thing. Maybe you'd be accepted.
I've done quite a few shows in Mpumalanga. I've actually never done a show in Limpopo though, but I've done in Mpumalanga. I've done shows all over, man. So I've had different audiences, different kind of. I've probably performed for all people that speak all 11 official languages of SA for sure.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. So what there's a show, a documentary that's gonna be airing in the UK, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in a documentary this weekend, actually. Quite excited for it.
Okay. Would you like to just give us a little bit more information about that?
Yeah, so basically that's a documentary called When Magic Goes Horribly Wrong. Yeah, so the way a lot of people kind of found out about me and know about me is that 2 years ago, I did a show with a escape artist. An escape artist is named Lee Lau. And we did this escape with a crossbow, and it went wrong, and he got shot in the head with a crossbow, right?
Oh.
So, yeah. Yeah, man, that was like international news. That was like, that was on New York Times, bro. Like, it was international news. So, I even had, no, it was crazy, bro. I mean, so that's kind of what happened, and because of that going wrong, we ended up getting contacted by this TV show that heard, because it went all over. It went into international newspapers around the world. Like people in the UK have heard about it. People in America heard about it. People all over, man. Like in Indonesia. Yeah. So, and obviously all around South Africa. We were like headline news on Times Live for like 2 days. And that's how. Just Google like crossbow magician accident. You can just Google that and you'll see the whole story. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail about it now, but he did get shot in the head with a crossbow. That's been well documented. And so because of that, that's how we're on the show now when Magic Goes Horribly Wrong. But it's also how we got into Britain's Got Talent, was because it went wrong, and then they heard about it and they were like, okay, cool. This is like one of the producers on Britain's Got Talent heard about this act that went wrong, and we were like, whoa, they went and watched it, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then they phoned us up and said, yo, do you want to come to London and do a recording for Simon Cowell? And we were like, oh, why not?
What? Oh no! Wow! Congratulations! I guess that accident was sort of amazing, a blessing.
Man. Yeah, I don't know if you saw. You know I was on Britain's Got Talent or not? I don't know. Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
Because you didn't.
I didn't.
Man, that's how people are buying tickets to my shows everywhere, dude. Because everyone's seen that video. Oh, man, it's like got like 25 million views online, like across the board, like between YouTube, Instagram, and we got a lot of views on Facebook. It's got like definitely almost 11 million views on Facebook alone. The clip of us, and it goes right for Britain's Got Talent. Yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
It's like changed my life, right?
I can see how an accident can be a blessing, right? Thank God the man is still alive too. Yeah.
You can read up about that if you just Google crossbow magician. You can Google and read up all that stuff and find out more about it. But yeah, he did genuinely get shot in the head with a genuine crossbow, and it was even on carte blanche. You could just Google it on carte blanche as well if you want, and all that. Yeah.
Okay. No, we will definitely do. Anyway, thank you so much again for coming. Can you please dazzle us with a bit of your Xhosa in saying goodbye and impressing some of the people will be watching. Some of the people. Yeah.
Nah, bro, I'm just kidding around, man. But Nkosi Kool, and see you later, man.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Brendon Peel.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for having me, man. And enjoy your day, bro.
Same as you. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Sure.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.